Hi there. Thank you for coming to the Sula Fix. I'm Wanda Wen. Today we're going to create a little bit of mail art with a bit of nature and wax paper and handmade paper. Okay, so I have a setup that I want to create just to protect my surface. So we're going to take 2 pieces of wax paper. Right? I had this pre-cut. I just cut it myself with an X-Acto blade and a straight edge. So I have wax paper. There are 2 sides to wax paper. There's one side that has the wax on it, the other side doesn't. Make sure that the wax parts basically kiss each other. Okay, so I have the wax paper on top. I just walked outside my office and just pulled some leaves off of my gardenia plant, and there were some little pine needles just resting on the earth. There's all kinds of things that you can find to create art, to create DIY projects that are just at our fingertips. If you just take a moment to look down and appreciate what is around us all the time. So I'm going to do just a little collage on top of my surface. And, you know, I find this process quite meditative. You know, working with nature elements, placing them on a surface so that they look just right and they have space around them and there's some melody to the placement. So I have 3 small leaves I'm going to place. I found a larger leaf that I'm going to highlight, and then I love having these little pine needles. You know, there's nothing right or wrong about placement. It's really a matter of what looks good to your eye. And of course, I've spent a lifetime, you know, working with space and objects, and it's just a muscle. You know, you may find that, well, I don't really have that kind of talent, but you do. And it's just a matter of exercising that muscle, right? We don't think of our creativity as something that you exercise, but it is. And many of us in our modern day don't really spend time creating or making things with our hands. And I think it's really important. As kids, but really as adults. I think that as adults, we sort of lose our connection to our impulses of making things with our hands. And I think it's really important and gratifying to see what your human hand and heart can create. Okay, so so do you see my my collage? Just using elements that I found on the earth, on the ground. Actually, it's not that romantic, but it's in my parking lot. Okay, so I take the other wax paper, wax side down, so that the wax sides match up. Okay, I'm gonna take another cloth. This is just a white, just happens just to be white poplin, but you can use you know, an old bed sheet, cut it up. You can use a dish towel, a really thin dish towel. What you want is that you want whatever's on top to be thin, so that the heat, we're gonna use my trusty iron that I have on just a little bit over medium. And I'm just going to use the heat to melt the wax, and so the wax paper melts together. And what is going to result is this great piece of paper. Okay, that should be fine. turn it off so that it doesn't become a hazard. And I'm just gonna let it cool a little bit so it's cool to my hand. And then I'm gonna peel it off, my top layer. And these are my 2 pieces of wax paper sandwiched together with a bit of nature elements, all right? That's the front, this is the, what? No, I'm showing you the front, that was the back. Okay, so I held it up to the light so I hope you can see the translucence of it. I'm not sure if you can, but anyways, it's beauty. We're creating beauty using things that are just around any environment, really. Okay, so I have this. I want to apply this to a piece of stationery that I have. It's a square card. This is handmade paper from the paper mill in Spain. It's got deckled edges. I have it in a lovely pale salmon color, and I want to put this together with this, this beautiful, rich terracotta envelope. Okay, I love these 2 colors together. Okay, so I'm going to take a X-Acto blade and a metal rule, and I'm going to just shape this so that it fits on top of my, here, I'm going to do this. Okay. So this card is just over 5 inches square, and I'm going to make this piece basically about the same size, maybe a little bit smaller, just so that when it's resting, when the sort of stained glass piece is resting on top of my card, and maybe a little bit of edge or frame of the handmade piece underneath. Okay. So you can think, well, why don't I just, start with why don't I just start with a piece of paper that is exactly the same size as this? Well, the reason why is that it would be very difficult to get the 2 sandwiches or the wax paper together exactly. And so this way you can just trim out the excess so that what results is a very clean piece of paper, because you're trimming them together, the top and the bottom of this. Okay. I have one more side. And okay. So now I have this piece. Beautiful. All right. And I'm going to apply this to the top of my card. I see that I need to trim just a little bit more. So allow me to do that, please. All right, let's see if this works. Perfect, gorgeous. Okay, so I got out actually this is my daughter's sewing machine, and it's a lovely little tool. Excuse me one second. My gas pedal just fell off what I'm standing on. Okay. Hi there. Okay. Okay. So I put this on a zigzag stitch, and I love sewing on paper. There's something about the thread on the paper, whether it's hand sewing or machine stitching, it's just, I love the two together. So I threaded the machine with the brown thread. I hope this goes okay. My sewing capabilities, my sewing skills I'm going to use my glasses. My sewing skills haven't been exercised in a while. So I'm praying, because we're filming right now, that this goes okay. All right. Okay, we're going to do a zigzag stitch. Here goes. Oh, man. I'm basically sewing the wax piece onto my handmade paper card using a zigzag stitch and brown thread. Okay. Whew. I think it's okay. I'm going to cut, and I am not going to cut these threads to the end because I happen to love these little tendrils, right? I love that. And then voila, we have a great card. I'm going to scoot this over just a little bit. We have a great card, and it has some elements of nature in it. It is a beautiful surface to write on. And ultimately, this is going to go to a friend that I haven't written to, in a long time. I'm overdue to write to her. And I'm going to put this in my envelope. And the combination of the terracotta and the green leaves and the brown thread is just lovely. Do you have an opinion of what ink color I should use? Why don't you give me a suggestion? I'd love to hear. You can comment below. And while you're doing that, if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. And definitely let me know if there's anything that you'd like for me to present to you next time. Take care. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you next time. Bye.